Hey, I want to respond to what we heard in the Spiketalk podcast, the VALORANT podcast with JoshRT from G2. He touched on my tweet when you guys know the tweet, when I criticized Riot and G2, both, for falling off the map in that tweet. And I think many people misunderstood it, but what happened yesterday was incredibly hilarious. I want to respond to it. So first we're going to watch the clip and I'm going to respond at the same time to it.
I still can't believe that people got mad at that. It's like, bro, it's a mechanic in the fucking
Yeah, that's me. That's me who got mad at it.
game. It like if they didn't want that to happen,
Because they want to see some headshots, man.
they wouldn't have made that happen.
You don't want to see
It's
the jump
funny.
off the map.
It's smart to do that.
What's up?
You know what's funny? Lothar. Okay, so like
That was weird.
Lothar was the one that made a tweet, and I haven't made anything public because, like, honestly, the public was defending it for me. So I'm like, yeah. Let's see, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just, I actually got the idea from Lothar.
I feel that I have blood on my hands.
He doesn't even know that.
Yeah, he,
So, like,
he mentioned it.
So if for sure if he was watching my content, and he says later that he was watching my content on day one of Abyss, when I was testing out the map and I was breaking down it like in areas and so on, I literally said on stream that this is going to be a problem because people will jump off the map and deny kills and so on, or will troll and jump off. And yeah, that's I pointed that out, and I told to Riot about it in feedback as well, that this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
he doesn't even know that. So
That is so funny.
That's
Yeah,
so
it is. Not gonna lie. It's
he's a content
incredibly,
creator. He
incredibly
he
funny.
gets the, you know, the
That
PBE.
Josh
gets,
watched
gets
that
the map
content that
early.
I
He was
did.
talking about it, like one Aaron. I don't remember like exactly when, but I remember watching it. He was saying like, yeah, people are gonna just jump off or whatever. Like, all right,
Yeah,
why don't
good
you
idea.
just do it round 2? Good idea, thanks, man. And so
No
I just
worries,
wrote
thanks,
down,
I
like,
helped.
what's the EV for, you know, what is like the predicted value of this, right?
Mhm.
Like, I don't want both orbs are attacker sided.
There,
I don't want them to snowball into round 3 and 4 alts. Screw that. Let me just jump off. Like, I'm not gonna feed this guy. So
Yeah.
I mean, like, we'll come to understand soon, I guess, like when the data comes out, with like how winnable is that round 2.
So in general, the rounds are very winnable. I don't have strats from Abyss in particular, but the average win rate on round 2 on other maps, if you sum it up, is around 20 to 25%, depending on the metagame and depending on the teams playing, and if you take out into like lower value games and so on and so on. But it's pretty high. And it was the same on Abyss, sorry, on Breeze and Icebox as well, which are similar maps to Abyss.
Eco on defense, but like my initial assumption, just from watching, like looking at the map, like it's a big ass map. It's really hard to get any of these orbs, and it's really hard to win this round. It's hard on defense anyway, so
Yeah.
Screw it. Let's just try this. And like I was practicing in scrims, it was working out, and then yeah, I mean honestly, looking back, I wish we didn't do it in the round 2 or second half.
It's because of the score, right?
The
It's like
score was
too big a
down.
lead, already.
Yeah, exactly. I actually wanted them to like take a risk and like, yo, let's just run at them or something. Let's.
And this is also my another point that I made, that it made no sense to make that decision. They denied themselves the ability to win. They were losing 9-4 on defense on Abyss. You cannot just sacrifice just like your chances at making a comeback. And the biggest point is,
See if we can.
we're gonna talk about it in a second.
But you know, it's again, that's like on me because I coached it that way, and so like they jumped off. It's like, all right,
So I wanted to touch on this, and in no means this is beef, by the way. I spoke with Zekin as well. I mean, Zekin messaged me as well when he made the response to my tweet, and he said he didn't want any beef. I said it's okay, and I want to respond here and with Josh as well. This is no beef needed. I just feel like I could respond right now with more context added. In general, I do think that he brings a good point, of course, that I brought up in my tweet as well, that there's value that you deny. That you deny the value of getting kills, deny the orbs, deny the planted orbs as well, right? So there is value in that, but you have to think about it. Other value as well is the fact that you didn't do anything to the opponents. you jump off in the first second as well. So if you jump off in the first second of the round, your opponents will not use any util. Your opponents will not get any damage. Is that worth? You rob yourself of a, let's even say it's 10% to win the round 2. Let's say it's 10%, not a lot. Let's forget about the 20%. Let's say it's 10%. Is the 10% worth sacrificing and snowballing your opponents anyway? Because if you jump off like G2 did in the first moment of the round, like you see here on the timer, it's 1:38. The round literally just started and just immediately jump off. So they die first moment. There's no util, there's only paranoia being used here by King because it helps to get the first, like, possible. Maybe they even use it. Anyway, the point is, there's almost nothing being used. They have full armors, they get no damage. So for the next round, they're already snowballing. They didn't get the orbs, but the economy is flourishing because they didn't use anything. They didn't use the drone. They didn't use any dash, the updraft, smokes, no cages being used. The 2 traps are being used and that's it, right? So now, how on earth are you trying to avoid snowballing if you allow them to snowball with the economy? And the problem is that, take a look at the ultimates as well. You have Icy, who is 3 out of 7, and you have Aspas at 3 out of 7. 3 out of 8, actually, right? So it's like, why? Why do you want to make... Why do you put more value on the opponent's ultimates than yours, where your ultimates are actually the same kind of worth? So not only you give them more snowball economy, but you deny yourself the comeback mechanics with the ultimates that you had a lot of them on Icy already. You can charge him potentially into a bigger comeback mechanic in like round 3, round 4. So I think now there's a slight misunderstanding in expectations because one, Josh said that the public defended him, but then also said that they should have not done it. So which one is it? It was a bad decision, and I criticized the bad decision, but yet somehow you're being defended by people who don't understand the same thing that you said, because you think it was a bad decision in that moment to jump off. And now, let's talk about if that would be a reasonable, best possible outcome for round 2 on defense, right? Let's say there's nothing better than on defense jumping off first second of the round to deny the value of the kills, the orbs, and the plants, and so on, and just die, right? Why are we not doing that on Haven? Why are we not doing that on Ascent? Why are we not doing that on Split? Why are we not doing that on Icebox? Because every single one of those maps has possibilities of dealing full damage in barrier time. You can literally jump off from the high ground on those maps during the barrier, damage yourself like 4 times, and die in the first 3 seconds because of that. So if it's seriously that profitable to jump off on round 2 after you lose pistol round on defense, you should be always dying on defense. And now let's think about the outcome of that. If that's the reality, and the best decision is to jump off round 2, will that make the competition enjoyable to watch? No, it won't. So this is what brings me now down to my first point that I made of the tweet. And I understand that people like call it like they call my takes stupid, even though at the base level they are common sense. But I voiced them in a way that might be inflammable, right? And I actually appreciate some people who comment on those on Reddit, comment on those on Twitter when they say, I think Lothar just speaks out pretty common sense stuff, some clever takes, but they are worded in a way that's just not nice to read. And that's okay. Like, I appreciate those takes because they do understand what I'm saying. They read with comprehension and they don't agree with the tone, which I do agree. Sometimes I sound rude for no reason because I'm not a native speaker and I just speak out my mind, and I will always speak out my mind, and I don't give a fuck if someone likes me or not. I will always speak out my mind. So now with the first point, this is incredibly disrespectful to the sport, to the viewers, to the opponents, and to the tournament organizer. Should not be allowed by Riot in the first place to jump off like that to deny a round. Now, I specifically also use this wording in the first possible sentence to read because I wanted people to get invested into reading the tweet, right? So now, if you read with comprehension, you would understand what I'm saying, but many people didn't because they read it with a way that they think that I demand Riot to find G2, but the reality is different. But you would understand that if you would read with comprehension. Maybe it is actually not allowed, and if that's the case, G2 should be fined. That's a hypothesis. If Riot put it in the rulebook that you cannot jump off the map on purpose to kill yourself and make certain events in the game happen like this, then G2 should be fined. That's the outcome. If it's in the rulebook, which Riot made, G2 gets fined. I don't demand G2 to get fined. I say that if Riot put that in the rulebook, then the result should be G2 is fined. But then the second point is, if Riot didn't actually think this is gonna be a problem and didn't put it in the rulebook, then it's Riot's fault. Why is this not common sense? I present to you two scenarios. One, Riot thinks about the potential problem, puts something in the rulebook to prevent it. G2 does it anyway, and they get punished because they break the rulebook, which is common sense. Or two, Riot fails at understanding the problem, doesn't do anything to prevent it from happening, and G2 doesn't get punished because it's on Riot, like I just said in the tweet. So I don't really understand how people can read 3 sentences in English, and I think it's pretty easily understandable what I wrote here, and they don't understand the word if. You know? So, yeah, I mean, I should have made this video day one, but no reason to hop on it right now. But I think it's hilarious that Josh got the idea to jump off the map from me. So I wanted to answer to that. And yeah, the reality we're living in right now is if this is definitely the best thing that you should do as a competitive team, then you should always do it, right? In 99% of the maps, you should be jumping off on round 2 on defense if you lost the pistol round, which will not happen, which I think will back up my initial idea of this and will literally tell you that this was the right common sense answer to this entire situation. So I will be vindicated in some time, I can assume, because it always happens with my takes. It happened with the Stinger. No one wanted to listen to my takes on Stinger when it was broken as fuck. Its gun was overpowered, and then I don't even talk about the double bind. It was just the state of the gun on the release. It was giga broken, and I spoke to many teams in EMEA and 2 American teams in the past, and not a single coach and players wanted to listen to my opinion about the Stinger. I mean, sorry, they listened, but they didn't want to use the Stinger because they felt more comfortable with the Sheriff. But I said, okay, well, it's your choice, but you're just missing out on using the best gun in the game. And Stinger was the best gun in the game. In many cases, it was actually better than the Vandal and the Phantom. And it was giga broken. It was nerfed before it was actually abused in pro play. Now we see same shit happening with this as well. The same thing happened with my take on Postplant on Viper, where I made points about how to play around Postplant with Viper. The body blocking, which Bosa made a hilarious video about it. You can check it in for sure. It's hilarious and it's still fun. And body blocking is fair. Sage walling is fair. Smoking off the position of the postplant lineup is fair. Still good, done the same. You can push it. It's still the same. All those people, all of those takes with the Viper postplant are still correct. But people like to clown on me because they don't think out of the box and because of my wording, which is whatever, right? We don't care about those people. And then what else? Chamber got released, and I said on stream that he's insanely good. I didn't say overpowered, but I said he's insanely good. He's going to be super playable on pro play because of the economy aspect and because of the untradability. And I spoke with pro players and I spoke with coaches. No one wanted to listen. Everyone was telling me that he's not good in pro play. I said, okay, I'll not take that aged like wine. So was there anything else that I remember currently? Yoru, same shit. For 2 years, I'm trying to convince teams to use Yoru. Still underused. And still not a single pro player is actually a good Yoru that put hours into it. And we still don't see enough of Yoru at a good level to actually make a full assumption. But somehow, the agent that I called absolute trash, Deadlock, has been seen more play at pro level than Yoru. I rest my case. So, in general, yeah, I hope this video brings you some joy. I definitely laughed at the JoshRT response. And hopefully, Riot will change the rulebook or will say something publicly about this. I don't know. Will they? Maybe for the next VCT season. But in general, I do think I stand by my take. I think it's common sense what you see here. And I do think the first sentence, it still also stands because you would not like to see, as a viewer, teams jumping off the map on almost every map. Where there's full damage available, you can do this strat. I don't think a single viewer would like to see that. I don't think a single tournament organizer would like to see that happening in the game. And that's why I said it the first point. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you next time. Bye-bye.